Why don't you introduce us?
All right,
Yeah.
so hopefully you're in the right webinar. We're tonight talking about the 5 most common holes in your TPT earnings bucket.
Yep. And I am Jarrett.
And I am Beth. So, like we said, we're Beth and Jarrett Boucher. My TPT journey started back in 2016 when I decided to take a break from teaching to stay home with our daughter, Isabella. What began as a simple hobby, just really a creative outlet to stay connected to my passion of education, really turned into something that, became much bigger than that. I was really just looking for something to have flexibility, be at home with my family. So over time, after countless nap time and late night work sessions, my little hobby began to gain momentum. That's when Jarrett, who was working full time as an analytics manager for a major airline, took notice. He saw growth potential in my store that I hadn't fully realized yet. With his insight, he helped me step off the content creation hamster wheel. Anybody relate to that? And start viewing my TPT journey not just as a hobby, but as a real business. From there, we spent many late nights working together.
No,
Combining.
we didn't fight at
No,
all.
not
No,
at
no, never. Just
all.
very, very strong conversations, right?
We can laugh on this side of it.
Yes.
But we really combined Jarrett's expertise in business strategy and data with my passion for creating resources. This allowed us to find ways to work smarter, not harder, and optimize the store for greater success.
So we had an opportunity to present at the 2020 TPT conference, right? And so we basically showcased a couple tools that we've been using to benefit Beth's store. And then we realized that more sellers obviously could benefit from that. And so we did a little beta group of about 25 sellers and took about 6 to 8 months to develop Your Data Playbook, or YDP. And so in 2021, we launched YDP. And so basically it's to help, sellers leverage their data to drive business growth, right? So since then, we've had the privilege of working with over 900 sellers. Actually, I think it's close to 1,000 now, believe it or not. And so we understand where there are holes in your TPT earnings bucket and where there's strengths and where there's opportunities. And so we've continued to develop and build out the platform and the product in order to better serve you guys. And so, yeah, we're going to share what we found along the way and where you have the biggest holes that you might not even know, right? So everyone is on their own journey. So we're excited because we think this is applicable to anyone, regardless of where they're at in their journey, okay? All right.
Now, have you ever had that sinking feeling when you realized you missed out on a big opportunity? Maybe it was a sale or a limited time offer, or even an exciting event that everyone else seemed to be part of. It's the same feeling we get when we realize we could have had done something sooner and reaped the rewards, but now it's too late. That fear of missing out, or FOMO.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Can hit especially hard when it comes to your TPT store. You might not even realize it, but every day you delay optimizing your listings, updating resources, or promoting your products could be another day you're leaving money on the table. And my mindset for many years was just get new resources out there and don't worry about the ones that were already there. Well, that I have easily seen how wrong that mindset is.
There's a season for that though, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a season for sure.
So you might have, maybe you've never even stopped to wonder how much money your current products could be making for you. Or maybe because you're juggling so many tasks and trying to keep everything running, you haven't even had the chance to think about missed opportunities. You're just focused on staying afloat. In today's session, we're going to highlight 5 of the most common holes in your TPT earnings bucket so you can stop missing out on potential earnings and start hearing more cha-chings.
Oh yeah, who doesn't love cha-chings?
Let us know in the comments how that sounds. Who wants some more cha-chings this year?
No, anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Yeah, I didn't think so, right? All right, so we're gonna jump right in and we're gonna look at a customer story real quick, right? So Angela over the last 12 months has made 500 successful product optimization or changes, right? And she was already a 6-figure seller, but just to show you the realm of what is possible, that resulted in over $100,000 in extra money just from those holes that she plugged up in her TPT earnings bucket, right? So a ton of potential here, right? So 500 changes, successful changes resulted in an extra six figures, which is mind blowing, right? So again, it's possible. All right. So it all boils down to what, Beth? Like, what does this come down? Wait, and we start at the beginning of this journey. What does it really come down to?
Well, it all boils down to understanding the customer journey and knowing that it is foundational. First principles knowledge if you want to stop leaving money on the table in your TPT store. Every successful sale starts with knowing how your potential customers discover your products, what influences their buying decisions, and what barriers might be stopping them from making a purchase. Your job is to understand your potential customers at every single step of their journey, from how they initially find your store to the moment they decide to click buy. When you can optimize each stage of this journey, you smooth the path to purchase, increase conversion rates, and ensure you're capturing the full potential of every visitor who lands on your product page.
Ooh, that's not a good job. Well done. She did really well. All right. So the next step is understanding, right? Understanding the different phases in the journey. So what does that look like, right? So from search to purchase, what do we have here? All right. So we have 4 different main phases. When we talk about the customer journey, if anyone, I guess I wish we had faces so we could answer questions, but if anyone ever heard about the customer journey before? It's really 4 phases: search to purchase, right? So the first phase, discoverability. This is all about being found, right? This is when your customers have a need or a desire, right? What drop in the chat for me? What is the most important phase or most important feature of your product listing in this phase? Anyone know? Drop it in the chat. Let me know. I need some engagement since I can't see your faces. Come on. No one have any idea? So how do you get discovered, right? SEO, Jennifer, yes. Specifically, the most important thing for this phase is your titles and descriptions and snippets. Yes, exactly, right? So it doesn't matter if you have the best product in the world if your customer doesn't know you exist, right? So this is really about being found, just like you go and search on Google, right? It's all about, hey, you show up when a relevant search term is searched, that you can satisfy that demand, right? So that's the first phase, being discovered, being able to be found. The next one is all about awareness. This is all about capturing attention, right? So in the digital age, especially in a digital marketplace, we are competing for what? Attention is key. Like, people say that we're living in the attention economy. Why? Because there's so many different inputs trying to compete and sway us one way or the other, because we know attention matters, right? So if you can get someone's attention, then you can help sell your product or convert them to whatever you want them to do, right? So this phase, what is important in this phase in your product listing, right? Tell me in the chat. Again, can't see your faces. Would love to hear your answers. What do you guys think? Appealing cover and title. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Absolutely. It's all about the cover, guys, right? You got to stop the scroll. If you show up and search, that's the first part. But if it is not attractive and you don't capture people's attention, they're just going to scroll right by you, right? So you got to make sure you capture their attention. Okay. So that's key. We remember capturing your attention is key in this awareness phase. Okay, what happens next? After you've captured their attention, I think this could satisfy the need. Oh, this product cover looks nice. This could be a product that can satisfy. They go into this next phase called consideration. Consideration is all about what? It's all about convincing. It's all about creating confidence. Is this product going to satisfy my need or desire? Right? Like, this is really all about where they start to consider the purchase. And again, right here, what is the most important aspect right here of your product listing? What do you guys think? Right? Previews, right? Previews are all about what exactly, Abby? Previews. Previews are what create confidence, okay? So if you follow those steps, as Beth said, you will smooth the path to conversion, and you'll get more cha-chings, right? We all love that sound, favorite sound in the world, right? So if you do those things, if you are able to be found, right, can capture their attention, can allow them to consider purchasing by creating confidence in what you're showcasing them in your previews, right? You will increase your conversions, and as a result, the purchase phase, you'll see a lot more of those, right? So that's the whole simplified path of a customer journey, okay? So all of those things contribute to an optimized path to purchase, and the more it makes more cha-chings possible. Can I get an amen? Can I get a hallelujah? Who likes that? Yes.
All right.
All right.
So exciting. Great.
All right. So Beth, tell us, what is the goal?
So really, to take all of what Jared said, which was very good, to simplify that, this really is the goal: to gain customers' attention and to keep your customers engaged and provide them with all the necessary information needed to make a confident purchase decision.
Come on. There you go. That smooths the path to conversion, guys, right? So again, where are there holes in your path to conversion? Where are your holes in your path to purchase? Same thing, right? So when we boil it down, it's this, right? How on the path to purchase or the customer journey, how do we minimize uncertainty and increase confidence? Hey, I'm not, especially in the digital context, is this product really going to satisfy what I think it is? How do you do that? They can't physically touch it. They can't go to a bookstore and open it up and read it and see. No. So it's all about showcasing the product. And again, you have to do that by increasing confidence. And so that's really that's how you do this in the optimized customer journey. Okay. So confidence will lead to more cha-chings.
All right, so let's dive in to our first hole in the bucket, and this is going to be under the discoverability phase. So this is the top of the customer journey funnel, and like Jared said, this is where people find you, and it's very important they find you.
So from Google, right? You go discover things on Google, same thing in search on TPT, right? So one of the biggest buckets or holes that we see is what? What is it, Beth? It's never happened to you though, right? Never.
Oh, never.
No.
But one of the big holes we see that's a really quick win is not fully leveraging your titles. Those titles are really important.
What do you mean by that? What was that? Not fully leveraging. So before we even get into titles, let's just take a pause and say, we need to understand the fundamentals of titles or of SEO, right? So in reality, what we're talking about when we talk about titles, so teacher authors are not fully leveraging their titles, okay? But in order to understand how to fully leverage it, we need to set the foundation. The foundation here is really SEO, right? Connects supply and demand. You guys, when you create your awesome resources, that's the supply, right? And so when someone comes in and types a search term, right, that is the demand side. And so your SEO, your keywords that you choose are what bridge your supply with that demand, right? And so if you're not using the correct keywords or you're not fully utilizing your titles, you're leaving a lot of money on the table, or there's a hole in your potential earnings bucket, right? So SEO is the bridge to connect supply and demand, is another way to put it, okay? So those are the link in order for you to get to your customers, to be able to start that customer journey, right? Remember, that's the discoverability phase. So that's the top of the funnel, top of the journey. You need SEO and you need to target the right keywords, okay? So the two main tasks when we talk about SEO 101 is really keyword research. Where is demand, right? You want to go where demand already exists. You want to search and you want to target keywords where people are already searching, right? It's way easier to satisfy existing demand than create your own, right? 100%. That's the beauty of TPT, right? Especially in the early days and the growth years, right? There's a ton of demand coming, and all you have to do is target the right keywords, and you're going to get a ton of traffic. Right? So it's way easier to do that than trying to create all this traffic to your unique website. Okay. So remember, keyword research is all about what are people searching for? What do they need? I'm going to go satisfy that existing demand. Okay. And then the second task is you need to understand where your products are showing up relative to that demand. So are you on page 1 or are you on page 107? Right? Because it's a lot different ballgame if you're on page 107, right? So you need to understand how you are relative to that demand. Cool. So that's why you need rank tracking. Okay. So those are the two main buckets. When we talk about SEO, I want you guys to understand those two things. Where's demand and how am I showing up for that demand? Cool. Can I get some yes, no's in the chat? Tell me if you're tracking. Awesome, Kristen. Thank you. Yes, Jen. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Awesome. Trish, awesome. Hope you're staying warm. Yes, Abby. Awesome. Cool. All right, guys. Wonderful. So then the next thing here is in the digital age, right? In the marketplace scenario, right? Distribution is king, right? So what do we mean by that? So if you can distribute your products, if you can show up in search, right, you will win. That's the game, right? So when was the last time you went to page 2 on Google, right? To look at results. It doesn't happen very often. About less than 5% of people actually go to page 2 of the search results, right? So it doesn't matter if you have the most spectacular resource ever created. If it's on page 2 or 3 or 5 or 107, it doesn't matter if people can't find you. So discoverability is huge here, okay? And that's the last thing I think you want to have happen. You create this awesome resource, spend all this TLC on it, and then what happens, right? Crickets. Hasn't happened to us. I'm saying, hasn't it? Yeah, it has, right? It has. So the reality is we want your products to be found. And what we did a study, right? We did a study and analyzed over 350,000 paid products, right? From using the membership data, right? So we have like 500,000 products, and not all of them are paid products. So we looked at the paid products, and what we found was 47% of these products have more than 20 characters available in their title. Okay, something super simple, right? What does that mean? It means that 25% of their title is not being utilized to help their products be found. Again, discoverability. It's all about helping your product show up in search, right? So I'm leaving a ton of opportunity on the table by leaving characters available in my title, right? So the goal here, you guys, drive more traffic, be found by casting the biggest net as possible that you can, right? You do not want to leave any characters available in your title, right? Because that's what tells the search algorithm, oh, is this search that this customer is typing in? Again, is it relevant? So you want to satisfy that search, right? You want to satisfy that demand, right? So cast the biggest net as possible. Don't leave any characters available in your title, right? So how many of you know right now how many characters you have available in your titles, right? Does anyone know? Does anyone know if they have more than 20, 50? Anyone?
Do you know how many you have? Yeah, that you have available. Yeah.
Available, yeah. So 80, right, Sal? Yep, 80. Yeah, exactly. And which products do you know, hey, let's say you have your bestseller that maybe only is using 50% or 50 characters, right? That's a big opportunity there to target 30 more characters. Okay. So let's just do a couple examples. And I'm sorry if these are your products. We just found some examples. So this is one product that's live on TPT. It literally has 6 characters. So this is a lot to be left wanting right here, right? And you had one with 11. Wow. Yes, so that's impressive. But I know you don't now, right? So look at this one. What do you want? Do you want to cast a net with 6 characters or with 80 characters? Which one is more likely to be found in the discovery phase? Right? Obviously the latter here. Cool? Right? You guys get the concept. What about Mother's Day bundle? 19 characters. Pretty simple. Hey, it's a Mother's Day bundle. But what about this? Again, you get the difference, right? It's night and day. I'm giving myself way more opportunities to be found by distinct search terms, okay? Casting a bigger net. So this is what we found. So we looked at products that have actually successfully optimized their titles. And what we found 1,700 product titles that have at least 250 page views per month, and that had 20 or more characters available. And then they increased their title length after the fact. So to 70 characters or more. And this is what we found. On average, they increased their daily traffic by 29%. Okay. And what that translates to for these products, on average, it resulted in about an extra $1,900 a year. Okay. Just by making that one change. Again, is that a significant hole or what? Right? Just by being cognizant of the fact that, hey, I have characters available that I can use to target more keywords. That's it. That's the mindset shift. That's all it is. Yeah, exactly. Just use all 80 characters. That's a first optimization. There's other higher level optimizations, but that's the first thing you want to do, right? You need to start with optimizing and making sure you're leveraging all 80 characters. Cool. Yes, Tris, absolutely. So that's your win for showing up. Right? I hope you guys, all of you will be able to walk away with new stuff here. Okay. So that's your.
So let us know who is going to go optimize some titles right now, because like we're saying, this is a really quick win. Just add a few more, SEO words in your title and expand your reach to other people who are searching for that. So it's very easy. We want to start with a quick win because we want people to find your products, right? Now, the hard thing is sometimes maybe you don't know which, resources have some missing characters and which ones you should add.
Or like, hey, I changed it and was it successful or not? Like
Yes.
that's an issue too. Like, hey, did this work? It didn't work. That creates a lot of uncertainty and fear for people too. But start. Yes, Tris. I love that excitement.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, I love
You
it.
like the first one, you're in for a treat tonight. We got 4 other ones to cover.
All right, so we're gonna transition to the next one. All right. So the next hole in the bucket, in the earnings bucket, is.
All right, so another hole in your bucket in the discoverability phase is rescuing products from the product graveyard. Now, if you're a newer seller, maybe this isn't you, but if you've been around for a while, then you might have a few resources that come to mind when you hear that term. Or maybe you have some products that never quite took off the way that you'd hoped. Can anyone relate to that? Well, we're going to dive in. Good. I am glad that I am not.
Hey, that makes 2 of us. So yes, the product graveyard exists for a lot of people. Yeah. Susan, we hope to change that for you. All right. But yes, here you will leave here with a strategy for that. So right now, we'll hope to tackle that. Okay. So the fear of your products becoming obsolete or not being found, as Beth just talked to, right? It's super real, right? You spend you're like, it sucks, right? You create a ton of time and energy and honestly emotion to build this thing, and then it doesn't sell and doesn't satisfy and get the student out or the teacher outcome, the student outcome that you desire as a teacher. So what we did, we analyzed, right, 350,000 active products, paid products again, and what we found was this. So 20% of those products did not sell in the last 12 months. Okay, so and of those products, right, over 95%, you guys, of those products were not ranked for one keyword on page 1. So they're not showing up on page 1 for at least one keyword, right? So how do you win the SEO game? We just talked about it, right? You got to show up. You got to be discoverable. So here's a correlation, right? We know if they're not showing up for at least one keyword on page 1, the likelihood of them being able to make money is what? Pretty minimal, right? So 95%, you guys. 95%, remember that number, okay? So here, again, going a little bit deeper into SEO, right? Not all traffic is created equal, right? So what do I mean by that? What I mean is there's this thing called keyword distribution, or in search, demand curve, or the long tail, right? What does that mean? Okay, so here on the vertical axis, you have search volume, which is high. All right, can you guys see my cursor now? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay. So high here, right? So this is search volume. So there's more volume here at the top, right? Because someone's just typing in math, right? So the average monthly searches for math is 7,000. Okay. But and the conversion rate here is low because there's a ton of volume. So it's less specific, right? But there's way more volume. But as I move my way down this curve and I get more specific, math centers, right? Math centers, there's 2,000 average monthly searches for math centers, right? So a little more specific just by saying, adding in the word centers. And then I go all the way down to this tail, right? The long tail is that we're talking about here. Math centers, first grade, no prep. Look at, there's 200 average monthly searches, but look at the conversion rate goes way up. Right? So the more specific, the more niche, or the more long tail keywords that you target, the higher probability that you will be found and have a better conversion rate. Yes, you might not get as many page views, but this accelerates your ability to be found and get purchases, get to chings, right? So you gotta, if you're a newer seller or in a super competitive market, you gotta find long tail keywords like this. in order to get that momentum. That's the key here, okay? So I want you to take away, find an anchor term. Like in this case, the anchor term is math, and then you're going to add in these long tail keywords right here at the end so that, again, you get found. Not all traffic is created equal. Don't worry if you're not showing up on page 1 for math. You want to start here, math centers, first grade, no prep. Cool? All right. So strategies to revitalize those product graveyard list or this product in the graveyard. Right? So you want to focus on keyword research. Again, we talked about this. You want to go where existing demand already is. Okay. And you use long tail keywords with the highest popularity. Obviously, what I mean by that is find the long tail keyword with the most popularity. So if there's a keyword math centers first grade prep that has 200 searches, but there might be one math centers first grade prep and second grade, right? So maybe that one has 400. So you could actually go for that one as well, or that one instead, because that's higher volume. Okay. So this is a formula I want you guys to take a screenshot of and write down. This is a formula that we use, have tested, it works. Okay. The anchor term in this context is math, and then you want to go find any other long tail keyword. So you're going to what you do is you just stack them, right? And again, try to make it human readable. If you can't, it's not a big deal. Again, you want to use unique keywords that are relevant to your product and your market. Don't stuff, meaning people say like your keyword stuffing. There's a misnomer or misunderstanding in the market. Really, what you want to do is just target distinct, diverse keywords. It doesn't matter if you actually need to repeat some words, but don't go after words that your product really isn't related to, right? That's stuffing and that's spammy. Don't do that. Go after words that you know your product can rank for and is relevant to your product. But this is the formula. Take it. This is how you structure it. And the goal here, you guys, is just rank on page 1 for one keyword. Okay. One keyword on page 1, right? That's how you start winning. So what we found, again, after we did the study, is we found that of the 20% that had not sold in the last 12 months, 95% of them were not ranking for one keyword on page 1. So the average monthly earnings for zero keywords on page 1 was $33, right? That's it. That's how much the average product made that had that characteristic. Now, if you rank for one keyword on page 1, look at it. It goes up $100. So literally 4x just because you ranked for one keyword on page 1. And then if you rank for more than one keyword, right? This is where scaling starts to happen. You can actually look at $900. So you can just see it again. It goes up another 9x. So this is the game here, guys. This is the data. So you want to know this is how it works. So you start with one keyword, get on page 1, and then start adding and stacking more keywords so that you show up for multiple searches. Okay, that's why we're talking about casting a big net, right? How do you revitalize the dead products? Start with targeting one keyword that you can show up on page 1. Cool. Hannah asked, can you explain? Yes. So the anchor term in this context, let's say math is your broad term that really is your market, your niche, right? Your grade level, whatever your subject, it's math. And then you want to look within your anchor term or your root word, as we call it. You want to look for specific or more tailored long tail keywords that are more specific, that have less demand, less competitive, right? And so you try to fit as many of those longer tail keywords into your formula here. So in this case, it'd be math, right? First grade prep or first grade centers. And then you could add in like math, second grade centers, math, third grade centers, if it was an example of that. Does that make sense? Or if it actually was relevant to that.
Place value.
Yeah, or place value or something, whatever else is relevant to that particular product. Okay.
All right. Now that we know how to drive traffic with effective titles, let's make sure those visitors don't bounce, right? Now, if you're ready to stop leaving money on the table, the first step is to analyze your store, and we're here to help. We're going to share more about that in a little bit. But now we're going to move into that awareness phase. And this is all, like Jarrett said, we are in an attention economy. We need to capture their attention and stop the scroll in the awareness phase. So you've done your work of your titles, your SEO words, you're being
found.
Yeah, you're being found, but now you got to get them to stop.
So it's all about, hey, it's cool. Like I said, it's cool. You created awesome titles. Now you're showing up in search. But what happens then? You got to create you got to capture their attention. You got to stop the scroll, right? So we talk about that here, and really it's all about the cover. The cover is what brings their eye to stop. Oh, this is a nice product. I'll go look at this, right? Ooh, this is different. I can tell this is a quality product. So the purpose of your cover, what it is, what I gave it away already, but get your buyer's attention, right? That's the key here in this phase of the funnel. You gotta stop the scroll, right? So you gotta stand out in the crowd. I want you to be like this blue little rubber like ducky right here, right? So be like the blue little rubber ducky. Okay. Imagine the loss of not grabbing a buyer's attention. Okay, so like you did all the work to get SEO to show up on page 1 for at least one keyword. Then you're getting traffic, which is great. And now you gotta go to the next phase of the funnel and say, all right, I need to what? Make sure that they're clicking on my title, or make sure they're clicking on my cover. They're not bouncing and going someplace else, right? So another way to think about this is that your covers are like the digital equivalent to curb appeal. Anyone been house shopping by a house before, right? Like you want to appeal to people to want to come in to incite that curiosity, right? So whether a house looks good before and after, like that makes a big difference, right? So how you got to have some curb appeal and incite that curiosity.
All right, so let's talk about what covers should include. First, we want clear and eye-catching covers on your TPT resources. Think of it like being the front window display of a store, right? Just like a well-designed display, it draws people in. That's what we want. We want
like your window shopper.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen a really engaging one that you go into the store without ever thinking about why you would enter that store and you find something, you purchase it? That's happened to me. I don't know, but it works. So we want
Target every time, and they don't even
I don't
even have them.
Yeah, so I'm thinking more like downtown.
Yeah,
Chicago, so
Palatine.
anyways, that's what really helps though, is to stop, let them see a little bit of what this resource is, and you want them to click on it. Okay, so we want it to be very clear and eye-catching. We want it to incite intrigue, curiosity. We want them to click it open and learn more about it. And we really want to communicate value. What does the product include? When they're looking on scrolling and seeing whether they're looking, with one going down or all of the grid view, what is going to make yours stand out compared to the other people in your market? Can you highlight some value? Is it a whole year long? Is it printable and digital? Is it, a number that you can highlight to really showcase your value in a very large way that makes them see it, stop, and click on it over the other people that are around your resource.
Wonderful. Love it. So here's some don'ts of covers, right? Again, we'll do some quick product or cover audits. Again, sorry if this is your cover and you're on the call. Or yes. So, but like, again, here, can't read the product title. Don't even know what this product really is. I mean, it's super crowded. There's this idea too, like, again, the old TPT way, like I'm going to dump as many images on this thing as possible because I want to showcase that it has a ton of things in it. But the reality is like there's a ton of wasted digital real estate here. I can't actually discern what this actually is. So it's super dense and not really attention grabbing at all, right? So screen real estate here is just simply not optimized. Okay. Do's, right? Do's, again, like Beth already mentioned, you want to optimize for grid view. You want, when people compare and look at multiple products at the same time, make sure that your title is readable, that it pops out, that you have some clear value prop here, right? Like 1,000 pages, 28 weeks, digital printable, it's a bestseller. Again, very easy to understand what this product is. And now it's like, oh, I think that will satisfy what I want. Let me go check and see, right? So that's all you want. That's the behavior that you want to trigger with your cover. Okay, cool. Any questions with that?
And something to remember is you are not your buyer. You know your products inside and out, and we have this emotional attachment because we've created them, which is awesome. But a lot of times, like Jared was saying, we try to put so much in because we know the value, and somebody who has no connection to this product just ends up being confused and they will not click on it. So how can you take a step back, look at that journey of your buyers and give them what they need to have an idea of what this is so that it gives them intrigue. They want to learn more. So really put yourself in your buyer's shoes here and not overwhelm them with information.
And I know it's hard to do. So if you have a hard time doing that, borrow a buddy, go talk to somebody like, hey, get an audit. Like, again, it just helps and ask those hard questions because you are not your buyer like that. I think it's so key. Yeah, 100%. So when you do this, right, again, you stop the bleeding or the holes in your TPT earnings bucket, right? So again, same study, we analyzed 1,800 successful cover optimizations. And what do you think the result was? Well, the result was this. We saw on average daily traffic increased 27%. Okay, 27%. That's pretty significant. Okay, what this translates to is about $1,800 in extra earnings per product. Okay, just by doing this one thing. Again, these are products that have at least 250 page views per month. Okay, so not every single product, but if they're getting consistent 250 page views a month, this is the fruit that we see when you clog up or you plug that earnings hole. All right. So,
all right, so let us know in the comments on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being not at all, 5 definitely stops the scroll. How well do your covers capture attention of your buyers?
Sally, love it. Click on the draw 3. Good. So there's room for improvement. Good. Awesome.
Good.
Right?
Yeah. All right, you guys are gonna have some good covers.
Love it. And the other thing too is like sometimes like from my perspective with Beth, we've had like, hey, she thought it was like really good, and sometimes it was really good. In other markets, it actually didn't perform as well. So sometimes your covers can be reactive to markets specifically, right? Yeah. So it helps. The data can help be very objective, even when we're very emotionally attached. And I know it's true for myself. Right. So
the data really helps to see whether it's working, whether it's my opinion or not. The data's very clear and speaks loudly to what's working, what's not, which is nice. So, all right, we are moving on. How are we feeling so far about those first 3 holds? Hopefully you can see that they're very approachable, doable. You can really plug some of these holes, right? Now we're going to move into the consideration phase. And this is all about convincing and creating that confidence. I mean, how many of you have purchased something and have that buyer's remorse, right? It's not what you thought. And we don't want that with our buyers. We want them to feel so confident that this is what they need. Teaching is really tough right now. We want them to know this resource is going to help me tomorrow or this year or with this group of kids. That's why we do this, right? So this consideration phase is a really important part of that. And in order to do that, the hole we need to fix is
suspense is killing me.
Designing previews that convert. I know that word is not a favorite that I like to say. You can go next. So let us know in the comments, are previews your least favorite or most favorite part of the product creation process? Because for many, many years, I would leave it to the end, throw something together, throw it up there. And I think you're going to quickly see how important and valuable previews are.
Not bad with Kim. Yeah. Wow. It's, you know what, guys, I love the feedback here in the middle for Rachel. Okay, good. So I got to tell you, I know it from several, and again, if it's your least favorite, you're in the majority. The minority like the preview, but I will tell you, the data says that it's the most important aspect of your entire listing, besides the price. Crazy, right? So if you neglect it, right, here's what TPT says. 62% of buyers say that previews have the biggest impact on a purchase decision after price. So I know you don't like the preview, right? But that's where we talk about you every single step of the customer journey, and they get to the consideration phase and they want to know, hey, does this satisfy the need that I have? Is this going to work? And there's a ton of uncertainty. Why? In the digital space, because they can't actually touch it and investigate it. So how do they investigate it? With your preview, right? So on average, what we've found is that products that just have a preview, because there's some people that don't even create them, right? So let's just start there. At least you guys say that you don't like creating them, but it sounds like you're creating them, which is 2 thumbs up. Good job. But people that they just list it and say, all right, we found when we compare products with a preview and without a preview, they convert 13% better, right? Just by simply having a preview, whether that's optimized or not. Okay, crazy. So what does that translate to? So imagine you have a product that converts at 4% right now. It would increase to 4.5 just by adding a preview. What does that mean on a yearly basis? So if you have a product that's getting around 2,000 page views a year, essentially you would make an extra $1,500 just by adding a preview. It gets and increases by 0.5 percentage point, right? Again, you sell, and without a preview, you sell 80 units. With it, you sell an extra 10, and that produces, you can see, like, it yields pretty good fruit. Again, for $1,500 for adding a preview. Again, so don't neglect it, you guys. Spend the time. You've done all that work getting your product this far.
Yeah.
Creating it, optimizing the customer journey. Do not neglect this phase. Right? I know. So what I would actually encourage you to try and do it at the beginning when you have a little more creative juice.
Yes.
Because by the time you're done, you just want to post it, and there's that there's this anxiety or excitement to get it out there and post it, but then you can subsell it, right?
Yeah.
So what's the purpose of a preview, right? We already kind of talked about it, but it's really to keep your customers engaged, to provide them with all the necessary information to make that confident purchase decision. So you build confidence here, okay, when they can preview it. So the question think about, has anyone bought it? We talked about, hey, the covers are the curb appeal. You want to bring people in, or as Beth said, it's it's the storefront window. Oh, I want to go and see what they have, right? So the model home tour, think of your preview as this digital equivalent. The model home tour, you want to go in and you want to verify, hey, this house on the listing said it has 3 bedrooms. It said the kitchen had granite countertops. It said it had 3 bathrooms, right? All of these things. So you're previewing to make sure that it fits your needs and it's exactly what you thought it was going to be. So you're verifying here and you're considering the purchase, okay? So it's all about creating confidence in this phase. So if you've prioritized this, I would say mindset shift, write it down, prioritize previews, okay? Write that down, prioritize previews because they create confidence.
P squared.
P squared, yes. Okay, so how should we structure previews then, right? How should we structure? So Trish, we have data for video previews, but it's not reliable data. So we do static previews and those crush it. So we can talk about that more later, but yes, not entirely opposed to video previews, but static PDF previews give the user control of the experience and allow them to explore the information, whereas video previews take you on a ride and can oftentimes lead you astray. So there's a lot there, but again, I would say default, definitely have a static PDF preview, okay? So when you look at the anatomy of a preview, there's 3 levels, right? Again, think about the anatomy here, how you should structure it. And there is a way that you should present the information. That's what I want you guys to think about. Intentionally structure here, okay? So it's all about the sequence of information. And think about this as a mini funnel, a customer journey, right? Just like we talked about the discoverability, awareness, consideration phase. So you're doing the same thing here and you're walking them through a mini customer journey when they're looking at your preview. So the level 1 is really all about 30,000 foot view, right? You're telling them what this what this product consists of. And oftentimes you see a ton of images, right? But if you don't necessarily know what you're looking at because you haven't read it yet, it's very hard, you get lost. So you want to tell them to give them a full sense of what they're considering. And then on level 2, right, you get more detail and you actually start to showcase. So in this case, you want to tell and then show, okay? So tell them and then show them what you're talking about so they have context, right? So you front load it and then show them, okay? And then the last layer here is the convert layer. So this is where you're all about talking about customer reviews. You're restating the value prop of the particular product. You're answering any FAQs. So if there's FAQs, for example, FAQs would be a question that comes up often on that product listing. Put it right in the preview so that you're addressing that as they're in the consideration phase, right? And then you can put terms of use, a bio page about you, etc. But this is really just sealing the deal and reiterating the value prop and addressing those questions and making sure those raving reviews stand out, okay? So sequence here matters. Highest level to lowest level of detail. Walk them through the product, okay? So this is the first page of a preview, right? Again, what's wrong with this one? Super dense, a lot to read, right? Even though there's text, again, in the digital economy, you got to know how people are consuming and interacting with your content. So if this is the case, you have 8 to 15 seconds to convince them that they can continue to spend their mental calories on investigating your resource. So if they can't understand quickly what's going to happen, they're going to leave, right? So if it's super dense or it's blurry, not a good first look, right? Doesn't create a lot of confidence. Okay. Next example is, look at how crowded this particular, again, yes, you're showcasing, it's got a ton of stuff, but not in page 1, right? So this is all show and no tell. Okay. Then if we bring all of these layers together, essentially what you're talking about is you're telling here, this is what this resource is. It has over 1,000 pages, 28 weeks of materials, 7 units. It's covering these domains. Then you're showcasing here. I'm telling you, here's hands-on and interactive grammar notebooks. Here's a couple writing activities, and then here's what they look like, right? So you're telling, giving them context, and then showing, laying out what they can expect when they buy it. Again, we want to minimize uncertainty. We want to increase confidence, because we don't like buyer's remorse. We want them to purchase with confidence, right? And then we're addressing in the convert phase, it's all about those FAQs, what other teachers are saying. Again, restating the value prop. So this is the sequence that works. Okay. So again, following this pattern, walking people through creates confidence, minimizes uncertainty, and then helps them get to the purchase phase where you increase those two chains, like we all know and love. So this is what we found when we found people had sub-optimized previews. Okay. We analyzed about 1,200 of them that actually optimized. And on average, they increased their conversion rates by 23%, right? So what that means in terms of extra money, they're leaking out of their TPT earnings bucket about $1,800 or almost $1,900 a year per product on average, right? Again, significant. So previews are super important, and they create so much confidence for the customer. These are what seal the deal, you guys, right? This is what seals the deal. So don't neglect them, and don't leave them to the last minute. And I know there can be like, oh, this is kind of tedious. Like, I'd rather go to the dentist if it's that bad. Maybe find someone that can help you with them. But again, you put in all the work. You want to make sure that you showcase them well. Okay.
And you can create a template, like you said, some of you are using Canva. Create your template, duplicate it, put the information in at least, and maybe the pictures you put in at the end when the product is done. But give yourself that future you is going to thank you for doing it at the beginning of your product creation. And also thinking that, you know, when a buyer buys something and it's exactly what they wanted, what's going to happen? They're going to come back for more of your resources. So that's going to continue to add on to the two chains.
Repeat customers, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
All right, so let's dive into our final hole in the bucket.
Pricing optimization.
Yeah, right. When it comes to pricing, small incremental changes can have a significant impact on your overall earnings. You might be wondering though, when is the right time to adjust my pricing? Or you might have some mindsets that have been floating around the TPT world for a long time that might just keep you from changing your pricing, or just things we can address in this, because there's a lot of conversations around pricing.
So
before we do though,
let us know in the comments, how often do you play with your prices, or are you scared of changing your price? So often, like, hey, once a year or never? Like, give us a little insight into how you feel about changing prices.
or you feel confident in when you price something, like this is what a good price is, or is it just kind of like
almost never, Jennifer? Yeah.
Never have yet.
Yeah, you know,
in summer, not often.
If a night has a soul, I'll change it every few months. Evaluate in the summer. Yeah, I try to research and price. Yep. So it's one of those things that's, don't feel confidence.
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, who's scared of changing prices? Yeah, anyone scared? Like, I don't want my product to tank or ruin it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, yes, yeah, right, totally.
Love it.
So the reality is that Beth asked the question, yes, always tanking, right? So I'm gonna give you a little precursor here. Like, pricing changes are like, they're totally reversible, right? So they're never constant. You can always change it back, right? So that's a little insight or a little preview, but it really depends. When Beth asked the question, like, when should I change my product, or how do I know if I change my price, right? And the reality is it's this, right? So we need to ask a different question. We need to ask, well, what is a good conversion rate? So it really depends on a conversion rate. And that really depends, right? So if you have a strong conversion rate, it's a good indicator that you can raise a price because it's all based on demand. And when we talk about demand in economics, there's this thing called the demand curve, right? It's actually similar to the long tail curve that we looked at before. And so as the price of a product increases, the quantity of that demanded decreases, right? So basically, hey, as it get more expensive, less people are going to buy it, right? So what we see is that now prices and conversion rates are actually relative to what price. So look at this. So a $5 product, the median conversion rate is actually about 11%, right? So if you have a product that's more like it's at 15% conversion rate and it's converting it and it's $5, it's a pretty good indication that you probably have underpriced that product for the market. Hey, you've undervalued your work. And again, we see that oftentimes is that TPT sellers, teacherpreneurs, they undervalue their work, right? So what about a $25 product? That's literally conversion rate drops to about 5.3%, right? So if you have a $25 product that's converting better than that, again, probably a good indication that you could raise the price. Okay. But what about a $100 product? Almost 2%, right? Again, as price goes up, conversion rate comes down, right? So if you have that insight, right, then you can know how to optimize your price and change prices. So that's really what I want you guys to take away. Is like it really depends on the conversion rate, and that is a good indicator. So if you have high performers, like I just said, this is a key here. If you have a top converter that has selling a lot and it has a high conversion rate, that's a super strong indicator, a signal that you've probably underpriced your work and the market is valuing it more than you are, and you could raise your price. Okay. So let's do an example real quick. This is one of the first successful pricing optimizations that we did for Beth back in the day, right? So her product was priced at 21 bucks. It had sold 215 units. Earnings were about almost 3,800 bucks. Then within 5 minutes of work, again, we did a couple changes. Like we changed the price over time and it is up by 26%. What we saw the following year, the same period, we sold 565 units. So, and we increased the price by 26%, and we made it because of that price change, right? We made an extra $2,600, right? Just from that one price change. So like the fear of like, hey, the product tanking, yeah, it's possible, but the reality is the upside is way greater, right? And the crazy part here is the conversion rate increased, which still blows my mind. Like I don't understand that. And sometimes because people have a higher perception of the product, a premium product it can attract more attention. Oh wow, this is a really good product, and so it can drive conversion rates up as well. So again, I think in terms of if you're like time strapped and you have a good selling product, this is one of the best ways that you can optimize your earnings. Okay. So highest return on investment activity for your time out there. Okay. Hands down. So again, what we did, we analyzed about 8,000 successful pricing optimizations. And on average, the price increase was between 10 and 16%. Okay. So not huge, right? Not doubling of prices, but again, 10 to 15%. What we found is about $1,900, okay, almost $2,000 again. So crazy that a pricing change can make you that much. And again, it's literally, if you are in the classroom, you have limited time, this can add a ton of value. Okay. So this is earnings hole number 5, and you want to plug this hole. Okay. Super awesome. I think this is one of my favorite optimizations for sure, because it's so quick. And then I think also when working with sellers and talking to people too, the idea that you can change your price and it's not going to tank your product. And like, think about your price as a revolving door. And like if you go to a hotel in a downtown area, New York, Chicago, whatever, a fancy hotel, usually have those revolving doors, right? You can go on that thing. Little kids love them. Our son would love to go round and round in that thing. So the point is think of your prices like that. If it doesn't work, right, you can change the price after a week or 2 weeks, but it's not a permanent thing. So change your mind and be more nimble and open about that pricing changes. Okay.
And also don't hold on to the fear that someone's going to email you and say, I bought this at this, stores change prices all commerce changes prices all the time, plays with them. Look on Amazon, they change them all the time. So I think that held me back for a while. It was like, well, someone's gonna email me and tell me they bought it at more. They won't. And if they do, that's your story. You get to change prices. So don't let that hold you back.
I see a couple questions here. We'll get to those at the end, guys. We're gonna have an FAQ section, so I will answer all your questions. Just want to get through this and then just be sensitive to people's time. So so the question then is, how much money are you leaving on the table, right? Right? How many holes are in your TPT earnings bucket, right? So if we were to recap, right? Again, we talked about the customer journey, first phase, discoverability, fully leveraging your titles to drive traffic. Then we talked about rescuing products from the graveyard, right? Again, finding those products, getting them to rank for at least one keyword on page one, okay? Then creating eye-catching stop the scroll covers, okay? Then we're talking about previews that convert. This is here an area that's highly neglected, but has so much power on the conversion consideration here, right? Don't neglect this area. And then pricing, be nimble, think about your pricing. It's dynamic, it can change. Don't undervalue your work. Test to see if you're undervaluing your work. Target those high value, high converter, high volume products, right? Again, if we were to summarize all this, you're talking for one store that had a case for say 5 products, right? Just by finding an accessible example on average for one store that had each one of these holes, it's essentially almost 10 grand in extra earnings from doing one of these, okay? So there's a significant upside for doing these optimizations, right? And again, I see another question. I'll get to that. I got you. So imagine your store's potential if you fully could leverage these. And if you aren't, I definitely encourage you to do that, right? So like, again, we don't want you to leave money on the table, right? And the reality is what? You're busy. You have a little time to do product optimizations. Like we've been working with people, we can understand, especially for those that are in the classroom, or like, hey, there's a side hustle. So, and if you don't take the time, how do you know which products and whether the change was successful or not, right? Who knows if the product changes, if you're making them or you want to make them, how do you know which products and how do you know if they're successful? That's the biggest thing, right?
Is your time worth it to do these?
Yeah, is your time worth it? If you're not seeing a return, how do you know, right? So that's what so we try to eliminate all of this fear and uncertainty for you, just like we've been talking about, right? Just like we've been talking about, how do we eliminate fear and uncertainty for you guys in your product listings? We've also done the same thing when it comes to product listing optimizations with YDP. That's why we created YDP, right? So it relates, and that's why we've had the solution that we've been talking about. And so that's where your data playbook comes in, right? We want to help you that are ready to take that step, okay? And so your data playbook really is about your end-to-end solution to make you a data-driven business, from data to actionable recommendations and continuous optimization evaluations. So we can help you make smarter decisions and drive real business value. What does that mean? We do the heavy lifting for you, right? We will literally do all the automation. We will do an audit of your store. We'll understand where you have opportunity and tell you where you have product recommendations. And then we'll actually, tell you which ones are successful or not. And we'll have a ton of other tools, visual analytics tools as well that you can use. And then we also do coaching and enablement. So if you're not familiar with data, you're scared of data, we also have that available, right? So we combine these 3 things to really help you unlock the value of your data, right? And so specifically, when we talk about product listing optimizations and really plugging up those holes in your earnings bucket, is really this. So we collect your data, we identify opportunities and recommendations for you. Then you take action, creating a price. It's super simple, right? Again, now you have confidence to take that and know, hey, if I change that price, YDP will actually tell me now, and they'll track the change and tell me whether that was successful or not. YDP will also tell me if I change a title, they'll tell me if that title made me more money or not, right? If I change my preview, did it actually convert better, right? So those are the questions that we answer for you. So you don't have to do that. Because what we found working with sellers for over 3 years now is that oftentimes that was a huge barrier for people. We'd have these awesome visual analytics tools, but people wouldn't take action because first they didn't know what to do, but then they also wouldn't, because they were scared or they didn't have time. So removing all those barriers, we found that we have unlocked a lot of value for sellers, right? So how it all comes together, that's really how it comes together. And look, when we talk about value for sellers, it's this last back to school, right? So in the membership, 467 stores grew during back to school. Okay. So people, there's wins out there. So if you're in Facebook groups, and I know some of them can be like, it can be a mind trip, or there can be a little bit negative, or but like there's a ton of people that are still crushing it. Okay. And doing very well. And oftentimes those people are less vocal because maybe they don't want to be like positioned or say, hey, like this person's doing well. The bottom line is like there's tons of people still doing very well on the platform, and people are winning, right? Check out another win. So 222 stores that are up this year that were down last August or September, right? So from the membership, so we had 222 sellers that lost money, made less money in August or September last year, and 222 of them are up this August or September. Awesome, right? And I love this next one, right? So 198 stores had their highest back to school month ever, right? Think about that. So if you hear a lot of negativity out there, hey, like again, I'm here to tell you, like the data that is showing us that's not the case, right? People are still hitting milestones and breaking new levels of earnings as we speak. Okay, so there are wins and there are paths to get to that win, right? So the reality is you have three options here, right? Again, you have to take what's best for you at this point in time for your business, but we're here to help if you want to take that step. Option one, operate in the old TPT world. Post a product and hope for the best, knowing that you're leaving money on the table. That's just the reality, right? The game has changed, and we have to change with it or we get left behind, right? A lot of times people complain because they don't want to adapt to the new world. They don't want to adapt to the new things because it's, hey, the good times when you just post a product, that's awesome. Who doesn't want that, right? We miss those days. It was a lot easier, right? Again, what about option two is guess, try to make a product optimization and fly blind as to whether it was successful or not, or which product should I actually optimize, okay? And the last option is really like commit to take your store to the next level. Know what's working and know which holes to plug on your product listings so that you can increase your earnings and optimize your earning bucket. And so we're inviting you to join YDP if you think that is the right fit for you. You want to take that next step, okay? So you can join us now at yourdata.playbook.com. And if you're ready to take that next step, we're obviously we want to help people. We've seen this. I just showed you wins. It's up to you, right? We want you to unlock your potential. We want you to have success. We want you to turn your hobby into a full business. Okay. We know the power of that. We believe in you, and we're here for you. And we're trying to eliminate as many barriers as possible so that that can happen. Okay. And we know the cost of inaction is real, right? We've seen it. We've seen people that have joined and left and because they didn't implement things, right? We know the cost. So what I'm going to do right now is to help those that are ready to jump in and take action right now, right? For the next three people, right, that sign up for a year, I will do a monthly, or I'll do a one-on-one onboarding call with you. Or I'll walk you through your store and I'll highlight and get you set up on the right foot. I don't do a lot of coaching calls now. You can ask Angie, but I overcommitted a while ago and now I've pulled back way back. So I want to do that for you. I love that this is priceless value. I don't know who put that, but that's great. But yes, that's very okay. Bottom line, for the three people that sign up, limited time bonus right now, you get to hang out with me and we get to talk. We get to talk shop. Okay.
Your specific store.
Specific store. Yeah. So then another bonus, since you guys stayed to the end, right? Again, this is only for people that showed up live. Okay. For the next 15 people who sign up, you get our growth. So we have SEO tools, right? We also have SEO tools, and you get a year free. So it's over $400, right? We're just going to give it to you, just because we want to, right? Haven't done much of this, but we want to do it. So what are SEO tools, right? So what we talked about in the first two holes, right? It really helps you identify where demand exists in your niche, right? It helps you target relevant, high converting keywords. Allows you to generate ideas for new products. That's huge, especially if you like creating, and who doesn't like creating? We're all created to create, right? So you still can create. Boost your product visibility, right? And increase traffic, and then monitor your rankings, right? To know how you're ranking and relative to that demand we talked about. And then you want to make sure you're staying ahead of the competition, right? So that's key here. All right, so that's bonus number 2, and that's limited, right? So sign up now, and let's keep going. So it's time for Q&A. You guys asked for some questions. There were some pre-submitted questions or some frequently asked questions that we're going to address right now. FAQs, I am not a data person, okay? Okay, that's cool. We want data to be accessible for all. And so there's this new thing that we put out this year. It's called Your Weekly Plays. We will literally send a list of optimizations for you. It's like, hey, literally, and we break it down by time category and say, hey, if you have 5 to 10 minutes, here's pricing changes that you can do. If you have 5 to 10 minutes, here's some SEO changes that you can do. And if you have a little more time, 30 to 60 minutes, we break it out into higher, more time-intensive tasks like previews, covers, and thumbnails, right? But we will literally send that to your inbox, so you don't even have to think about what you need to do, right? So, and then you're already going to unlock the value of your data right away, and you're becoming data-driven, and we're doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you, so you don't even have to think about it, right? That is what we want for you guys, okay? So if you're not a data person, don't worry about it. I mean, we also have Angie who's on the call. She's a coach too. It's like, we're going to start with these simple tools, and you can work your way up to the more advanced tools, okay? So, but that gets you the value of using data without having to go in and analyze the data if you're not a data person. Cool? Hey, thank you, Abby. Love it. Awesome. Were you the first? Because that means you and I have a date. So I don't know. I haven't seen. So the second question, is my store ready? We get this a lot, right? So the reality is, if your store is getting consistently about 500 page views a month, so 6,000 page views a year, we can work with you in YDP core, right? So in the optimizations. And we've seen some that are a little bit less, but generally speaking, we want you to have that level of page views in order for your investment in YDP to be worth it for you. We want people to have success. Again, we want to create confidence for you. And so, yeah. If it's not ready, what we encourage you to do is go get our SEO tools and build your traffic and build products. So build up your portfolio and get traffic and make sure that you have as many of those products out of the graveyard so that you get your at least tracking one, you're showing up for one keyword on page 1 and getting that traffic and building up, right? Because it doesn't matter if you do optimizations, right? In the middle of the funnel of no one's seeing the top, you're not getting found, right? You got to get traffic in order for everything else to work. So as long as you have about 500 page views, then you're ready for the optimizations. If not, we highly encourage you, and everyone needs SEO. Like if you're not doing SEO, I'm sorry, like your luck, your time is running out. The game has changed now that we have that data. So Jennifer, yeah, 500 page views a month on paid products or freebie products. Yeah, I mean, basically we need you to have, again, you could have 3,000 page views in July through August, right? But on average for the whole year, we need you to have at least 6,000 page views, right? Cool. So I will get to your questions again, guys. Let me just get through that. So then here, is TPT in decline? Are people still growing on TPT? I think I just showed you that people are still growing, right? Paul, the new CEO and owner, like invested millions of dollars. He has a ton of resource. He's investing in the platform, right? So we are not seeing that TPT is in decline, right? Yes, there are some things going on in the overall broader market, but the amount of customers that have stayed the same has actually gone up, right? And back to school. So we're not seeing a huge drop off in customers. There are some things with the algorithm, like average price is coming down, but like it's no way it's falling off a cliff, right? So if there's, hey, TPT's in the tank, no, like there are still people making a ton of money and it's not in decline. There's still a ton of opportunity. And I actually only think the opportunity is getting bigger. If you know how to create awesome content with AI, that can accelerate your content creation if you create quality content, right? So I think AI and the disruption people are talking about is still a while off. Right? If it even happens, we don't know. Like, but the reality is like still like TPT is solid and there's plenty of opportunity for you still to grow and it's not in decline. So what we see in the data is it's still very much healthy. Okay. 93% of customers this year have come back already to purchase from people in the membership. 93%. So there's repeat customers. People are still buying. That's a huge indication that you have a solid customer base. Okay. All right, I was already doing product optimizations before YDP. Do I still need it? Great question. So yes, I believe, I mean, obviously I want you to get it, of course, but for what, like genuinely speaking, do you actually know what a good conversion rate is? You don't. That literally is not public data. You don't know whether a product is underpriced or overpriced, or whether a good conversion rate or a bad conversion rate. You are flying blind. So you can make conversion, you can make optimizations, but based on what? Right? We have literally 800 sellers data that we're comparing and saying, hey, this is a good performer, this is a bad performer. So we have and then we leverage that to give you those recommendations. So you're not flying blind, so you can optimize against what we see in the market, right? So even if you were doing optimizations, you might have been suboptimally doing it and actually not knowing if they were actually making you more money or not. With us, you can eliminate a lot of that uncertainty. Okay. I'm still teaching. Will I have time for this? Yes, absolutely. We see a lot of people that are still teaching, and they go in their bronze tier, the silver tier. They get into that tier, and they get the weekly plays, the weekly recommendations, and they just go through those every week, right? And that's what they do, and they continue to monitor and optimize. And so that actually helps. They might not have time to create products, but they can change the price, right? It takes who knows how to create a price? It's pretty quick, right? Same thing. It's pretty easy if you're still in the classroom. Again, we're trying to take a lot of the legwork out of it for you, so you can just show up and do those optimizations if you're still in the classroom. All right. Last one. My friend joined YDP and didn't have success, right? We've seen that. Okay. So the reality is some people don't want to put in the work. I'm just telling you. There's people that want to eat Twinkies and lose weight. It just doesn't work. Seriously, like it's a contradiction. So we have people that join, they literally did product optimization, but they didn't follow best practices. And so it's like, okay, like you don't want to put in the time. And this is something it's not a microwave silver bullet solution, right? This is something that you have to, it's a way of doing business. Okay. And so there are people that haven't had success, yes, but there's way more people that have had success that have actually implemented what we're recommending, and we have the data to prove it. So I would say most often people that haven't had success is they didn't put in the time, right? They didn't prioritize it, or they did optimizations, but they didn't do them correctly. They thought they did, but they might have been not using best practice, or they're unteachable, or they didn't want to wait it out. Okay. So and they didn't want to use their data. So again, we're trying to solve that so you don't have to look at your data by sending you every week these weekly plays that tell you what to do. Right. So again, we've evolved, we're continuing to evolve, but I think there's more. Yes, there actually, I even think, I know the data supports there's more success than there is failure. Okay. All right. So I'm going to open up to your guys' questions. And so let's see.
There's one in the Q&A.
Okay, this is why Steph was saying we got to use the quick, because okay.
Oh, Anna and Steph have been really.
Okay, so where are questions?
They've been answering them.
Okay. If you have questions, just go ahead. Can you copy and paste them back again, and I'll.
If they haven't been answered.
If they haven't been answered, sorry about that.
Also, raise your hand, and we can unmute you if you need to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's an option, so we can. That's easier. I know, Anna.
Yeah. So Trish, did you get your answer? Yeah. So it's per month exactly. So absolutely, Rachel, thanks for showing up. If you don't, again, where you're at your stage, I would say check out SEO tools. That's the best thing that again, if you are what Rachel just said, hey, they're not making a ton of income. The best way you can accelerate your income is by getting found, right? Discoverability SEO. Okay. That's like, again, so if I were starting from ground zero, what I would do is I would create products based on the demand that there is in the market. So SEO, and then make sure I show like the product that I created at least ranking from page 1, and then I'll rinse and repeat. Okay. So before you guys go, we do have a bonus for you guys. We have store audits for people, right? So for free, we'll literally, so if you just wait 1 second, I'll share that link. If you haven't already done it, we are offering free store audits for you. And literally we'll give you we just preached to you guys that, hey, you want to create confidence for your customers. We're doing the same thing for you by offering store audits, right? We don't know how long we're doing it, but we're going to do it because what we'll do is we'll give you a high level summary and tell you what we think is a good fit for you, whether we think YDP is a good fit for you, or whether you are leaving money on the table and you do have holes in your TPT earnings bucket, right? So we'll analyze that, and then if we think you're a good fit, we'll tell you, we'll recommend a tier, and if not, obviously you just need to focus on what I just said, creating products and making sure that they rank on SEO, right? So again, so that's where we recommend the SEO tools. So if there's no questions,
We're gonna go back to questions.
yeah, I can go back to questions at the end. So again, like I said, again, join now if you're ready to take action. Again, limited time bonus, next 3 people. Don't know how many are left on that. Then you have, again, one-on-one onboarding call with me. Then the next 15 people get SEO tools. Again, game changer. Those tools have changed our lives, our business, and lots of others.
Ooh, I think only 1 spot left for the one-on-one call.
All right, so then you got, all of you who made it to the end, if you haven't grabbed your free bonus, which is grab your audit here, right? So make sure you get your store audit, you guys. This is awesome. I wish we would have had this years ago, but this really eliminates a lot of uncertainty for you guys, and it tells you how much. So you'll get a summary of how much we think you can make by doing optimizations over the next 12 months. We'll tell you how many products haven't sold in the last 12 months, how many products aren't ranking on page 1, for example. So there's a lot of detail in there, again, high level. And then we'll tell you whether we think you're a good fit and recommend a tier for you. So this is a huge value that I know people we've already done over 200 of them actually since we launched them. So people are getting a ton of value, and we love it, and because it helps people understand where they're at in their journey. So and it eliminates uncertainty. So if you haven't, go and do that, please, for your benefit. I think that would be yes, take that next step, make it happen again. And we're Beth and Jarrett. So thank you for joining us, and ready to plug those holes. You know what to do, and hope to see you in the membership, and if not, in the SEO, or just get the audit, and we'll keep talking to you guys. We wish you all the best on your journey. And yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing this evening with us, or morning with us. And yeah, I'll be here for more questions if you need them.